Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Indigo Womb Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host and sister friend, Shatia Tee Owsley, and thank you for watching and or listening. So sit back, grab some tea and a notebook, and let's vibe together as we have organic and practical conversations embracing intuitive womb wisdom, spirituality, and a sprinkle of magic to rebel, restore, and radiate overall wellness in our lives. Everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Indigo Womb Wisdom Podcast. I am your host and your sister friend, Shatia Tee Owsley, and today I would like to introduce our guest, Desiree Sprauve. Desiree is a heart-led, multi-dimensional, holistic women's and maternal health professional. She is the founder of the Wellness You Desire, a global holistic womanhood movement for ambitious women who seek to heal and nourish their mind, body, spirit, and womb. She specializes in the sacred transitions of periods, pregnancy, and postpartum. Desiree is an alumni of Howard University School of Business. After a successful career in aerospace global supply chain management, she answered the calling to become a doula, a yogi, a meditation teacher, spiritual guide, and a women's health educator. She has directly guided over 1,000 people towards intergenerational healing and freedom. Desiree invites you to embrace a holistic and natural approach to all aspects of womanhood. Welcome to the Wellness You Desire with the amazing Desiree. I am so excited to have you here today. I know I read a little bit of what you're doing out here in these streets. Okay, but tell the people who you are.
Yes. Well, firstly, thank you for having me and creating this platform. We definitely more and more spaces to talk about women's health and maternal health because it's a space that needs a lot of tender love and care.
Yes.
A little bit about myself. I think my bio kind of captures like the high level of it all, but at the base of it, I am an educator who uses all of these different mediums to help guide people through whatever they may be experiencing in life. And so at the core of it, education is key. My number one favorite thing to do is learn. And then my second favorite thing to do is teach. So yeah, that's really the core of it. I am from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm currently living in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they both feed different parts of me, like the gangster version of me, and then the nice, yogi version of me, the Zen. And I love both sides, right? Because we're all multifaceted, and so many times in this world, people want you to be this way or that way. And now that I'm 35, I'm like, no. Let's live in the fullness of it all. And that's how I was raised to be. My family is Caribbean, Jamaican, and St. Thomian, like the Virgin Islands. And we just got to show up full. And I like to cultivate spaces for people to show up as themselves. And that's how we create spaces for people to be. And then when people are allowing themselves to be, we can do all these wonderful things in the world because we're not hiding.
Yes, I love it. So how did you get started? Let's say more specifically, you moved from corporate America, right, into the world of wellness. Has that always been a part of your life, even though you kind of, went more the corporate America route in the beginning?
Yeah.
Coming from the islands, coming from the Caribbean, it's just wellness in your blood.
I would say yes and to that. I would say that growing up in a Caribbean household, my grandma would use aloe every night for her face. And that's why when she transitioned at 90 something, she still looked 50, 60, 70 maybe, because we understood that the earth is our healer, the earth is our nurturer, the earth is our provider. And so I was kind of like raised around that. It was very rare that we would take medicine or pills or anything of that nature. So it's kind of always been my thing, but I wasn't really focused on that. I know when I got to Howard, people thought I was so weird because I didn't take Tylenol or Advil, or it was like, what do you mean? Just pop the pill. And I was like, I don't even know how to take pills. Like I'm 35 and I still don't know how to take pills. It just wasn't in my, stratosphere. And so when I went to Howard, I ended up graduating with a supply chain degree and then worked at Chrysler for many years. And that was very masculine and also very white. Okay. And Howard's very Black. My high school is very Black. My junior high school was very Black. And so that was really a shift of me trying to figure out, okay, what is this? How do I maneuver in this space? And it was very masculine, right? And so you're not sleeping, you're not eating well. I shopped, at Walmart. Nothing wrong with Walmart. Well, now there's something wrong with Walmart with the DBI stuff, but I was just eating garbage. I knew nothing about nutrition. And back then, all we were young kids just drinking, drinking, drinking. And there are repercussions for all of that. And what really, really was the main foundation for how my life turned out today was I had severe menstrual cramps. Not like you're like, oh, let me just pop a Midol. That was kind of, no, I mean severe to the point where I was like laying on the floor talking to God, like, please, God, please, and just crying. And I remember even in junior high school, I told my mom, said, Ma, if I have to go through this for the rest of my life, I'd rather not live. I said that at 16, So not that I was actually like pontificating on actually doing it, but it definitely was like, this is real pain. And so I said I was a gangster.
This is a safe space. This is
Yeah,
a safe
but
space. And your story resonates with so many. So you're doing a good thing by
yeah.
sharing your story.
So, I had such severe menstrual cramps and I would lead team meetings and then I would go into the bathroom and be just throwing up and all the
Mm,
symptoms of, all of the menstrual cramp pain symptoms that you may experience. So, I mean, I had everything, the diarrhea, the throwing up, the shakes, the hotness, the coldness, everything possible. I didn't have that pain in the anus that a lot of people are talking about nowadays. I don't know anything about that. Yeah,
mm,
but, people experience that.
mhm,
Um, so at that time, what do? As women, we just gotta get it together. So I would
mhm,
literally go to the restroom, and this is when I was at the aerospace company, wipe my mouth out, and then go lead a team meeting for my clients in Japan, my clients in wherever they were all over the world. And we, as women, what do? We had to pretend like everything was okay, and it wasn't. And so then I started, because of my Caribbean background, I knew nature could help somewhere,
mhm,
with this.
mhm,
And so then
mhm,
I started learning because um, I just wanted to be better and I knew this wasn't going to be sustainable. And so that's kind of how I got this like background of women's health. And then one day I saw the story of Kara Johnson. Do you recall the story of Kara Johnson with the maternal health? And she died so unnecessarily. I
mhm,
mean,
mhm,
instantly, unnecessarily hemorrhaging, bleeding out for hours and hours and hours. And I saw that story and I was like, oh, we need to do something about this.
yeah.
And that was just kind of like playing in my head. That was 2017. And then I started learning about doula work. And I didn't really know too much about it, but I knew something had to be done. And after that, I was like, that's interesting. And then God kind of just put in my mind, doula, doula, doula. And I kept hearing that doula, 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 like the Jumanji sound. I was like, what's this about? And I was like thinking about it, pontificating, pontificating. One of my girlfriends, she said, girl, just pay for it. Stop talking about it. Yeah. And I'm so thankful that she did because I have no idea why I was, we do that sometimes when we
Mhm,
know something is for us and we are still steady. Like, and it wasn't even the money. I had the money. I was working in aerospace. So what's the issue?
right.
And I booked that and my life changed ever since then.
Wow.
Ever since then. So when I became a doula, the whole world opened up to me. And it was like, oh, spirituality, yoga, meditation, nutrition, tantra. Everything started opening up to me. It felt like I was coming into myself at
Mhm,
that point. All the things that I had inside, all the murmurs from my like spiritual mom and my grandma and my aunt, they had drippings everywhere.
mhm,
But it was like becoming a doula was like the waterfall of it
mhm,
all. It was just amazing. And being able to guide women in the most sacred way. Also, I would like to note that before I became a doula, I
mhm,
had a lot of healing to do, right?
mhm, mhm,
Because it is
mhm.
very important that we cleanse our energy and cleanse ourselves before we bring our own stuff into the space with, this sacred kind of transition that people are going through. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did a lot of work before I really came into the space. But anywho, I just started working with women, and I had the opportunity. I was at a birthday party, and somebody was like, I know somebody who is pregnant. Do you think that you'd be interested in being their doula? And I was like, what? And this is after the training. I was like, what? I had just gotten back from Kenya. My doula mentor she's in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I would love to. I learned so much. I had just taken the training with Mama Glow, ecstatic.
Mm.
And then she called me 2 days later. She was like, well, the pregnant person is me. And I was like, oh my God. And that was the first official birth that I went to after my doula training. Before
Mm-hmm.
that, I did my cousin's birth. When she called me, she was like, can you come to the hospital? I was like, sure. And so that was my first experience, but I didn't have my training then. And so I kind of consider both of them my first births.
Mm-hmm.
And that birth, when it came time for her, after we did all the childbirth education and, preparing and everything, she came to me and she was like, I took a childbirth education class, and what you're teaching me is exactly what they taught me. So you should probably add that to your arsenal. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. And that's when I started realizing, oh, I'm an educator.
Mm-hmm.
That was her birth. I ended up writing an article on because it was beautiful. It's an article in Mama Glow. And what happened was, her and I are connected, right? I didn't know her prior to this at all, but we had that thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I have really with most of my clients. And she was like, oh no, I'm not in labor. It's just a little pain. I was like, I know her. And I was like, you are trying to, make it seem like you're in less pain or less discomfort, and the surgeries are not what they are. And,
Mm-hmm.
she has that like Black woman syndrome too, where it's like, no, I got it. I don't want to bother her. No, I get to the house, and within, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, the baby was born into my arms in her bathtub because the midwife couldn't make it yet. Yeah. My
So
first
beautiful.
birth. Yes. It was
My goodness.
amazing.
My God.
Amazing. It was just me, her, and her husband.
Mm. So beautiful.
And it was so beautiful. And she was so strong, so focused, so just in the sanctity of it all. We're in the bathtub. I tried to roll up my pants as much as possible, but I get in the tub, and she, within maybe one push, two push, I can't recall, but I can still like see it
Mm-hmm.
now. Baby was here. And I was on the phone with the midwife, and I was like, baby's here. And
Right.
so the midwife came and her assistant, and they were like, whoa, you did a really good job, and, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that story will never leave me ever. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew how sacred this space was as a result of that experience. And that kind of like led me on the trajectory of, where I am and what I do today. And
Mm-hmm.
so, very long-winded answer, but
You allow me to write down some points that I would love to circle back on that you made. And so, one, we definitely would like a link. Please send me the link to the article if it is still
yeah,
available. I would
yeah, it is.
love to share, or at least link it below in the description where people can find it and just read that beautiful story, because we
Mm,
need more stories like this, especially in our community when there's so much challenging data, so many heartbreaking stories of the women in our community that
yeah,
are not being able to see the other side of birth. And so
yeah,
to hear beautiful stories like this, especially those that are also considering home births, and
yeah.
considering, having a doula, having a midwife, and knowing like you can do this. You can do this,
Hmm.
and how important support is when you're going through this journey. So that's one. But I
Absolutely.
did want to go back just a little bit. And you brought up a very important point when talking about when you started your doula journey and what that meant for you. Did you know that you were going to have to go through your own healing and rebirth journey when you started down this doula path?
Not even in the slightest. Okay. Not even in the slightest did I don't even think I had an inkling. I don't even think I had an inkling that this work was healing work for me too. And I think any birth worker, childbirth educator, doula, anyone will say that You are going on this journey. You don't get called to this work just to be called to this work, right?
Mhm.
There's a assignment upon your life, and there's a responsibility upon your life as well. And yeah, I did not know that that was going to be a part of my trajectory. The reason why I wanted to like do the healing so bad is you know how you can feel the gunk.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
can feel the gunk, and I'm like, I respected the space so much that there's no way that I am walking into that space with my own gunk. I was in a very long-term relationship in work. So I had to heal that. And I think it's really beautiful that we get to go on this journey with our clients, and you grow and you heal. The same thing with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is really a self development kind of journey to understand how you are internally is how your business is.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, and I think that is so important, and I'm so very happy that you share that because there are a lot of people that are very interested in birth work, right? And not just specifically becoming a doula, but just being in the birth work arena in the field. And it's such a sacred space,
Yes,
right? I know that it can be very commercialized and people don't always see the importance of doing that self work and
yeah,
diving deep and really respecting the space,
yeah.
right? Because anybody can create a doula program, right? In a sense,
Hello.
right? But I'm saying this for new birth workers coming in, and it's something that I talk to new workers when I'm working with them when they are looking for a program of what suits them and what they. And so I ask tons of questions, and one of those questions is, what is it that you're looking for within you? Right? What are you looking for, and how are you looking to grow
Yeah,
within yourself,
yeah,
because your program that you select should reflect the same values in
yes,
which you are trying to grow and blossom and evolve into the person that you would love to be, because that is the person that has to show up into these very vulnerable and sacred spaces. And so in that means there's some work that you have to do within yourself. And so being able to find a doula program that says, hey, 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 you're not just about to just go in here and be in these people's
mhm,
space without
okay.
checking your energy and checking your vibe and checking your internal temperature
Yeah,
and thermometer. And
exactly.
that means that some things will come up for you, and there are some
Yes,
things that you're going to have to work through. So it is a commitment, and it's a lifelong commitment because we're continuing to grow and evolve in this birth work space, especially with so many things changing. We
yeah,
have to continue to kind of roll with it because there are things that come up for us. There are triggers that come up for us as birth workers. And if we are not prepared, if we're not ready for those things, burnout happens,
yeah,
right? Very quickly. Very, very
very,
quickly.
yes, yes,
And so I love that you brought that up because it's something that needs to be discussed more. It's something that should be the foundation of any birth work program, regardless of what you're teaching, regardless of what services you're offering. It really starts within. So if you have a
yes.
calling to this work, know that the ancestors about to drag you
They about to drag ya.
something kind of
You
serious.
finna get
Okay?
dragged. You finna get dragged. But it's all for the greater good.
It's
So
all
you
for the
finna
greater
get
good.
dragged.
Yes. They about to drag. So
Oh
this what
yes.
you want to do?
You wanna do this?
You want to do this ancestral work? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
let's talk about all that stuff that you've been hiding
Mhm, mhm.
before you step up. Right? I thought I tucked you and packed you
Tuck you
away.
it away.
I love
Judgment,
it.
is that you?
Doubt, shame,
That's the one.
guilt, imposter syndrome,
Hello. In your face.
fear. Yeah. Okay. They need to know this.
Yes.
Because
Birth
we
workers
see the
do.
pretty side of birth work, right? When you look at
Yes.
Instagram and you look at all of the different social media platforms, and people are like, oh, I'm encapsulating a placenta and I'm doing
Mhm.
this and I'm doing that and all this beautiful stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
People don't talk about how you be rolling on the floor sometimes,
Mhm.
like, is this am I in the right space? Am I doing
Hmm.
the right thing? Or you're questioning your very existence,
Yeah, your
right?
literal existence.
Your little existence, right? That is, but like you said, it is for the greater good, and
It
it
is every
only
time.
makes you even better,
Yeah, because
right?
with the question comes the answer, and the answer is never that you're not enough.
Mm,
The answer is never that you're not worthy. The answer is never that you aren't deserving to be in the space and that you aren't the exact right person that that person needs to
mm,
be in
mm,
that space.
mm,
So let's go through the struggles. Let's go through the questions. Let's go through the fear, the doubt, all of that. And then
mhm.
on the other side of that is you realizing all that is within.
Yeah.
And so it's not to say that it's terrible to go into this space or anything like that. It's
Mhm,
really that the great work is required.
mhm,
It is
mhm,
required. And I think that more people, I'm glad this came up because I
mm,
don't think that it's talked about enough. And not
mhm,
from a place to frighten people or to say the bad things about birth work. Birth work is beautiful
mhm,
in
mhm,
every single way that it manifests, however you decide to show up in the space. But we do need to be real about what it comes with, not just like, I did this and look at this pretty baby. Yes,
yes, yes.
yes. And
And dot, 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 right? The
yeah.
tears that come are not just always tears of joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are tears of growth. There are tears of evolution. There are tears of
Yes,
letting go. There are tears of
yes.
release. There are tears of, I'm
Of
becoming
pride.
me. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. I'm
yes.
becoming who I was called to be.
There's all of that. And then also for me, my first company was called Desire Doulas, and the symbol was a flower,
Mm,
orange rose. And the reason why is because you can see a rose go from this like tightly
mhm,
wound, kind of experience, and then it keeps blossoming and blossoming and blossoming. And that's what we get to see our clients do. Some
yes.
people may come to us scared, some people may come to us frightened, some people may come to us feeling and doing well, right? And then
Mhm,
they get to blossom even more.
mhm.
And I think that's a really important part of this work is you have the opportunity to watch somebody blossom into a mother, like literally
Yes.
from a maiden to a mother.
Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And I think I mean, I feel like that's just like a great segue when you are working with these families, not only just telling me, okay, you about to birth this baby, right? You about to have this baby, but how do you let them know, but you about to be rebirthed too? You about to
Yes,
be rebirthed too. You are
yes.
moving from one phase of your life to another phase of your life. And I don't know if we're always ready for that. I don't know
No.
if we are really truly expecting so much growth, so much
Yes,
evolution
yes.
from one phase to another. I know, I think people understand, hey, my life is going to change, things are going to be different, new schedule, new expectations, just newness, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Did I just go through a whole different I entered a new portal too? I came
Yeah.
out of one and went to another one. So when you are consulting with a client or when you're with a client, how do you introduce that to them? How do you let them know through multiple visits, when you are working with them, oh, it's a shift. You're
Yes.
blossoming into that flower that you talked
Hmm.
about.
Yeah, I love that question. And what I particularly specialize in is sacred transition. So
Mm,
whether that is a sacred transition from you having a wounded womb to a blossoming womb, whether that is from a maiden to a mom to postpartum,
mhm,
I focus on the guiding people to evolve from space to space. And so what that may look like is multitude of ways, but one of them can be ceremony,
mm,
right? And so when we have ceremony, it is not like something weird and, how people
mm,
may
mm,
be about that. But when we have ceremony, we're having ceremony to consecrate that this is a shift that is occurring, whether that is a mother blessing, whether that is as simple as lighting a candle and allowing that candle to be a signifier that every day that I light this candle, I'm closer to the newer version of myself, or whether that is having journal prompts. So maybe I think the second session that I may do with folks, they have journal prompts that they do and they go through like, what is the new version of myself that I am anticipating, or how do I view myself today, which may be different than when I become a mom, or I'm asking questions to kind of guide and allow the mind to marinate on what this version of themselves may be.
Mm-hmm.
It could be affirmations. It could be definitely conversations with the partner if there's a partner present to discuss like, what is this new version of ourselves going to be? And also allowing for that error of margin that you can't even formulate in your mind what that version of yourself is going to be, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
one who can tell you that. You could be more nurturing than you thought. You could be more angry than you thought. You could be, you don't know. And so we hold space for that unknown as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so, yeah, I think it shows up in many different ways in conversation, in journaling, in ceremony, in intimacy with your partner. Intimacy meaning into you me see, right? So allowing that space between each other to be vulnerable and share. And so, yeah, all of it is an evolution. And if we go into it thinking like, I'm just going to be Desiree plus a baby,
You're in for a rude awakening.
you are
Okay.
in for a rude awakening, okay? That you died. This version of you has died,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and which is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But and then, we allow space for that new version of ourselves to occur. And with like from a traditional African lens, we used to always have ceremony or rites of passages for any new transition
Mm-hmm.
so that we can ease into it, so our community can like guide us in a way that sets the foundation for this newness. But we don't really do that right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So having something in your mind that says, on this day, I was that person. Moving forward, I'm a new person. And yeah, we
Yeah.
really have to do that.
Yeah, I love that. For those who don't know with what a blessing way or a mother blessing ceremony is, can you just give us a quick, like, just summary? What is that?
Yeah, blessing ways are beautiful. It's a ceremony that we have to kind of signify that this woman or this person is becoming a mom or a mom again. And it's for her community to come around, different than a baby shower, but it's the community coming around, gathering together to love on the mom, right? So often we're like bigging up the baby, shout out to the baby, we love the baby.
Right?
Also, the mom is in
Mm-hmm.
there, right? She
Mm-hmm.
is the house that is curating and cultivating this life that is about to be born. And so we may feed her foods, we may go around and share beautiful words of affirmations and prayer for her and the birth. I have a string ceremony where there's a long string and we'll all wrap our wrist
Mm-hmm.
around, and then every person in the circle wraps their wrist around this, and it becomes a bracelet of sorts. And so every single time, the people who you have decided are your community are going to look down and see this string, this bracelet that reminds them, let me send a prayer up for the mom. Let me send a prayer up for the baby. And so even if you are living your everyday life, somebody is praying for you.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I look down, oh, I'm praying for that person,
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to cultivate that energy. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. We may also do like foot massage, or depending on where the person is in their pregnancy, maybe a yoni steam. We may do a prayer, a poem, a dance battle, like
Yes.
needs,
Mm-hmm.
and that we think could be beneficial in alignment, always with like herbal teas and foods. Yeah, it's just to set the stage, preparation for what a blessing way or a mother's blessing is.
I love that. So beautiful. So beautiful. So we talk a lot, especially on previous episodes, and we'll continue to talk them about the importance of community.
Yeah.
And so in our world, right? In the US, it is a very individualized approach to life most times, right? And what we had, some time ago, maybe with our grandmothers or our great grandmothers or great great grandmothers, just, there's a lot of separation. Right.
Mm,
Either people don't live in the same town, the same community, so people are doing a lot of stuff on their own.
yeah,
How do you encourage people to build a community, even if it's not blood family all the time? How do you help them to really embrace in a society that
yeah,
really is more about do it on your own? You got this. You don't need all these people for various reasons, right? But we know we do better in community. We know
of
we
course.
thrive more in community. We're safer in community. And so,
Yeah.
how do you help people to cultivate the importance of community, especially during this time?
Yes, I love that question. One thing I'll say is most of my clients are type A women, right? Because
Okay.
I was a type A woman. All
Yes.
right. So I live my truth. So
Me too. Me too.
um yeah. So everyone thinks that they can control everything.
Mhm.
Okay? Oh, I got it. Don't worry. I don't need you do need people. I remember one specific client. She's like a doctor of nursing or something. And she refused to want to have people in her postpartum,
Mhm.
journey. I was like, babes, I promise you it's not like what it looks like on TV. We need people. We need
Yes.
help. We need support. You need somebody for the laundry. You need somebody for the dishes. You need somebody for the food.
Mhm.
You need somebody for changing or whatever
Mhm.
tasks are at hand, we have to relinquish the control to allow people to show love, right?
Mhm.
Love is
Mhm.
an energy, which means that it has to keep flowing, right? We can't hold it in ourselves. We must
Yes.
give and we must receive. And
Mhm.
so being okay with asking for help and saying, like, I'm in a vulnerable state right now.
Mhm.
And I have a list for you because, they're already a type of way.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the list.
Yes.
At the maximum, all I'm asking my clients to do is to send out the text message. I'll even give you the template.
Send it out.
Send out a message. And maybe they have a best friend that they can say, hey, please just take this and then divvy it up and delegate
Mhm.
accordingly. So I think really when it comes to community and cultivating community, the number one thing is trusting yourself. Trusting yourself and trusting God that you have the discernment to know who's for you and who's not for you, who can
Mhm.
help you, who cannot help
Mhm.
you, right? So
Mhm.
really building community is about how much do I trust myself to allow the right people into
Mm.
my stratosphere.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that to me is what building community is about and helping other people, helping yourselves. And we have to do this before we are pregnant.
Mm.
Pour into them before you're pregnant, and they will pour into you while you are pregnant and postpartum, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
all the
Mhm.
time we hear like, nobody's doing anything for me. And that could be the case.
Mhm.
That could
Mhm.
very well be the case.
Mhm.
But we
Mhm.
also have to discern, did I pour into them?
Mm.
Did I choose the right people to be in my circle? It's not a blame game.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
truth game
Right.
of like, how have I lived my life, you know? And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I think it's all, I just posted that the other day of like, we have to do the work before we're pregnant. And
Yeah.
that's actually been coming up so much in my work recently that it's becoming a main focus of like, how do we live, breathe, eat, think before we're pregnant?
Mhm.
And that's why I transitioned from desire dualist to the wellness you desire, because it allows more space for all of these other conversations that are coming up, because women were coming to me pregnant and we were trying to teach so much stuff about meditation and breath work and visualization and how to eat and how to think and how to calm down and how to advocate, and it's too much.
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
a
Mm.
lot to unpack within this very short window of time. And so
Right.
that's when I started realizing, like, okay, before we're pregnant, we need to be
Mhm.
building these mindsets. We need to be healing our wombs. We need to understand love and build community.
Mhm.
all of these different things so that, we have intergenerational healing, because the next generation can see, oh, this is how mommy did it. This is how
Mhm.
daddy did it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And I was just going to ask you about the business, and you
Mm,
just was like, let me just segue right into
I
that.
gotta get.
So I mean, that is such a great point because I think a lot more emphasis really needs to be placed on preparing not
Yeah.
just your body, but your mind and your spirit
Yes.
to call forth this little being that you want
Yes.
to bring earthside, right?
Yes.
And so just like we mentioned earlier with birth workers having to do work within themselves to show up in such a sacred space, parents
Mm,
have to do that work too
yeah.
prior to
Yeah.
calling forth that little being, right, into the
Yeah.
space. But how do we have these conversations, Desiree? How do we bring
Just
that
like
stuff
this.
up?
Just like this. I'm telling you, people are sick of me because I talk about I talk about it all the time,
Yes.
right? Even my male followers are like, wow, Des, thank you so much for telling me that I need to prepare myself before I have a child, too. Thank you for putting that seed in my mind. And these are like real dudes.
Right.
So, like, hardcore, like,
Yes.
that
Mhm.
they want this knowledge.
Mhm.
Of course, they want to produce the best child that they can. That only shows how amazing they are and how beautiful their lineage is. That, oh, my seed has curated this child because I did the work. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, always giving grace to God, always,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
from what we can do from our human level. But yeah, I think having these conversations is really how we continue to share the message about what is necessary for the growth of our people.
Mhm.
When I'm doing my work, it seems all frilly or whatever, but always in the back of my mind, I'm a Pan Africanist.
Yes.
Okay. So I want our people doing well,
Yes.
and we are going to do well and not be subjugated by these systems that are unaliving us unnecessarily when we are doing the work, when we know the power within, when we have the wisdom, when we have the tools, when we have the education. That's how we do well and step forth and go on to be as incredible as we are meant to be, right? We're not meant to be in this like destitute and caught up in these statistics and these
Mhm.
stories. That's not our truth.
Right. Right.
So we have to take on ourselves, and not to say that the education and wisdom is going to make us not subjects of the
Mhm.
statistics. There's no way to know that. But
Right.
at least we have done the work to be able to say, job well done.
Mhm.
Whatever the outcome is, job well done. And so I
Yes.
love that you are curating spaces like this so that we can talk about things that people are not talking about enough. And
Yes.
if I turn blue in the face and become a smurf, listen, it was worth it. Okay, it
Absolutely.
was worth it because I mean, gangsters come up to me and say, like, actual gangsters, like, and say, "Oh,
Mhm.
it does. Thank you." And
Yeah.
that's why I like being in my authentic self and truth, because you get to reach people who you couldn't otherwise.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So when you're talking to those partners or any partners who may be watching today or in the future, what give me the top 3 things, right, that you would tell partners. You on
Mm.
this journey too. You're evolving
Yes,
too. You're growing too.
yes,
Put this on your to-do list. This is
yes,
your homework. What are the top 3 things they need to before the fun night starts kicking off and we start getting it in and all that good stuff, right? Before
yes.
you do that,
Right.
I need you to take care of these things. What are those
Yes.
things?
At a minimum, 90 days before you are considering conception, you want to be as clean as possible, right? As clean as possible looks different for every individual.
Okay.
Clean to me means that you are fruit and vegetable forward, which means that majority of what you're eating is fruits, vegetables, whole grains. I put it in 5 categories. So fruits, vegetables, carbohydrates, healthy proteins, and healthy fats. All right. So these are the categories of foods that we need in order to produce the best semen possible.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And once we are doing that and we're eating well and we're not drinking hookah and the smoking and the weed, okay, there are actual studies that show that weed smoke, hookah smoke, cigarette smoke lead to adverse outcomes of sperm and semen. Okay, these are, I mean, I could have told you that without a clinical trial, but these are like, these are clinically tested. Okay, so we want to take that out. We also want to think about, from an emotional standpoint, being in touch with our emotions, right?
Mhm.
What are your fears? Men have fears. Men are scared. Well, men will come to me like, Des, I'm scared that she may not make it out of this
Mhm.
alive, right?
Mhm.
I'm scared that I might not be a good father. I'm
Mhm.
scared that my finances aren't in order, right? So be okay in your emotions, in your truth, so that you can not hold it so deeply and wound inside, because that tightness lives. We know the book, The Body Keeps Score. It's because
Mhm.
emotions are stored all in our bodies. And not to get like too on the spiritual level, but even on the, if we go to the sacral chakra where all of our reproductive organs are, this is where we hold a lot of our emotions,
Mhm.
right? And so if we're wound up, it's not going to produce what we desire for it to produce. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, I think that those are some of the major ways. Also, calming ourselves down with meditation. There are meditations specifically for men as well, which kind of ties into the emotions and like learning how to regulate yourself. I would say that those are some of the three major things. Also, not keeping your phone in your pocket all the time. EMF waves. Eek. Problematic. Same thing for the laptop. Don't keep the laptop on your lap. That's for men as well. Yeah, just as a family, hormone disruptors, right? So we want to look at our household items. And that's why it's not like a quick, fast, in a hurry kind of thing. It's really a lifestyle change.
Right.
It's
Right.
really a lifestyle change. And so, yeah, I would say that those are some of the major things that I would tell men to really look into. Really, that nutrition, really the exercise, really the emotions, and tapping into the spiritual space of healing.
Yeah. So 90 days at minimum. 90 days minimum. In ideal, what would your ideal? Should they give it about a year? Couples should start a year
Yeah, I
before,
would
6
say,
months before. Just the longer, the better
yeah, the longer,
outcomes.
the better outcomes,
Outcomes. Right.
for sure.
Right.
For sure. I almost never meet clients who are willing to do the work.
Mm, mm,
30 days to 6 months, that's about all we're gonna get.
mhm.
Because most people are interested in the quick, fast, in a hurry. They're
Right.
not interested in the lifestyle. This is a holistic womanhood lifestyle.
Right. Right. Right.
So, which is okay. We
Mhm,
take what we can get. I
mhm.
like it. If you like it, I love it.
Right.
90 days, we in here.
Right.
So
Let's make it work.
let's make it work. Let's make it
Yes.
work. But a year, I've never seen that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, in my work, because remember, my work is mostly focused on professional women.
Yes.
That's just not the space.
Yeah. 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 But I think it's good to know. I think those that are even willing to say, okay, I'll give it 90 days.
Yeah,
And to many of them, they're like, and that's still a long time, right? Because we do live in a microwave society. We want it quick,
yeah.
fast, in a hurry, and we want instant gratification, right? We want to know. And what I have seen to this point in this topic is people don't usually want to do the long haul work
Mm-hmm.
until there have been a lot of
Yes,
misfortunate events that happen,
yes.
right? There are losses, reoccurrent losses. There are just not positive pregnancy tests that come up.
Yeah,
And that usually goes on for months.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Sometimes even years before people are like, okay, I have exhausted all of my other options. Now I'll do it this way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a little sad because we can try to mitigate some of these circumstances, that aren't the best outcomes, right? But we're always happy when they say we're ready, regardless
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
circumstances. When they do say it, we're like, okay, well, let's get to work. Let,
Mm-hmm,
let's
mm-hmm.
get to work,
Yeah.
right?
But honestly, I think that's just an American thing in general. It's a
Mhm.
very like, and so I can't even blame anyone for like
Right.
having that kind of mindset, because it really just is an American kind of mindset of like Western is forward, and
Mhm.
this woo woo stuff, is that's my last resort.
Yeah.
When really
Yeah.
it should be the first resort, and we
Mhm.
use Western medicine in the event that, the things that are in our control, at our avail, doesn't
Mhm.
work. Western medicine has its place,
Right.
of
Right.
course,
Right. Right.
but perhaps we should be thinking about it in the inverse, so
Mhm.
that actually would save us significant funds as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, do some people they'll come after all perceivable pathways have been crossed.
Mhm.
And with that question, if somebody comes in that kind of way, my question is, are you ready? And so I'm very particular about, I can feel if somebody just wants a quick fast in a hurry kind of thing. I ain't
Mhm.
got nothing for you, baby. I wish
Mhm.
you well. But yeah, because it is a full-on decision to choose yourself, to choose nature, to choose,
Yes.
all of these other healing modalities that may not be within our, scope of knowledge and awareness, but internally you may know that this may work, this may be well.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's a microwave society. I can't blame anyone for showing up in that way.
Yeah.
That's how we live. I mean, I've even done that too within my own journey of something.
Yes. Like I want it today.
I
I
want
want
it
the healing to really
today.
be done today. I don't want to feel
Yes.
like this anymore, right? And spirit is like, "Girl, sit down."
Sit down. I just had that conversation with someone. Like, she's like, oh, why am I always, going through XYZ? It's like, it's a part of the spiritual journey. It's a part of the growth. If we had quick answers all the time, what reason would we have to grow?
Exactly.
None.
Yeah.
I had a pain. I won't get too much into this, but I had a pain that I was experiencing for maybe 9 months, funny enough.
Mhm.
And I was like, what is going on? Everything I needed to know, learn, become within that 9 months had to manifest so I could be this version of myself. I had to learn certain things so I could be this version of myself.
Mhm.
It's necessary and required. A lot of spiritual practitioners will tell you the pain is necessary. The suffering is it's actually a gift. The
Mhm.
fact that there's a point in my journey where I was like, suffering is not a gift. This feels poo. Take it back to the store.
Right. 0 out of 10, do not recommend.
Out of 10, do not recommend. I don't want it. And now I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, what are you trying to teach me?
Right. 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 And that I mean, that goes back to birth, right? When we have
Mm-hmm.
those surges,
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of that is that big chunky baby
Let them right.
on the other side, right? And then we say, "Okay, I wasn't feeling it in the moment, but
Mm-hmm.
it was all worth it. It
Yeah,
was worth it in the
exactly.
end."
Exactly. Yay! It's a good conversation.
Yes. So what's next? What's next for you? What does 2025 look like for you? What does
Yeah.
it look like for the business? Where are you going?
Yeah.
What are you doing for the rest of the year?
I love that question. And it's something I was pondering about for a while. Kind of like last year and the year before was me really figuring it out. What am I doing? Who am I? I found myself like trying to figure out who am I in this space in totality. And I have the global supply chain, I got this, the yoga, and everybody knows me for like just doing the most. It was really kind of difficult for me to define myself.
Mm,
What will I say? I feel like I've finally come to that place of, I'm not becoming Desiree Sprauve. I am Desiree Sprauve. Mm, okay, it took a long, painful time, but I really feel like I am myself now, and how that is going to manifest in the world is overall holistic womanhood. That
mm,
is what I am bringing to the space. And so womanhood shows up so differently for people, and there's so many sacred transitions. So now I'm focusing on the womb wellness portion. And so that may be for women with cramps and difficult menses, right? And then, oh, okay, now you realize that you desire a baby, right? So what does
mhm,
conscious conception look like? Womb wellness and conscious conception are very, very closely related. And then with conscious conception, okay, now prenatal and postpartum prep,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so guiding people in the preparation from a holistic standpoint, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whether birthing at home, birthing center, or the hospital, how do we prepare for the birth that we desire, right?
Right.
And those are the ways that I am showing up in the world now. And then also in a workplace wellness. So, workplace wellness, a lot of times, 50% of society are women. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that means
Mm-hmm.
in the workplace, you may not realize it, but everyone here is subjugated to the natural cycles of a woman,
Mm-hmm.
the luteal, the menstruation, the follicular, the ovulation. And so, as a society, as workplaces, we really need to be able to understand what is happening, what is going on. And then also bringing the wellness portion to it. So, the yoga, the meditation, the facilitation of workshops. And so it's all about how do we live holistically as a woman, right? So we're not in a silo. We're not like on a farm somewhere just raising chickens, and which would be nice.
Right.
No, as we are in the society, how can we live holistically all the same, whether we're at work, whether we are experiencing menses, whether we are looking to conceive, whether we are already pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and then thinking about how to prepare holistically. So that's what makes me feel grounded,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is showing up for women in, consultations. And I do yoga and meditation as well. But really, the only reason why I teach yoga and meditation is so that we can get closer and deeper into ourselves. I use it as a tool and modality. I'm not trying to be Charlotte's like number one yoga teacher. I mean, I've been teaching for a very long time, but like
Mm-hmm.
the intention is to use these tools as a healing modality to the greatness of your holistic womanhood. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, that's how I show up in the world. I also didn't mention that I'm a sensuality doula as well. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, the full spectrum of womanhood
Yes.
outside of um, menopause. That's the only like topic that I am not diving into at this time.
Okay.
But yeah, sensuality, in order to conceive concepts, in order to conceive a baby, there's a certain essence that we have to carry. There's a certain in tuneness. There's a certain understanding of our own sacred anatomy that is required
Mm-hmm.
in order to produce the things that we desire. So, yeah, a lot of healing work went into this new version of myself, but I really feel really good about the rebrand from Desire Doulas to the Wellness You Desire and all that it's going to do for the community. I mean, in Charlotte, I've been here 3 years. Come April, I've served over 2,000 people in just in this time. Okay.
That.
Whether that is yoga, meditation, courses, clients, speeches, this is my life's work and I haven't even gotten remotely started. And yeah, I'm just so thankful for people like yourself who create these spaces for us to share our stories in a way that's not like, I'm on Instagram.
Yes, I love it. And I'm so honored and I appreciate you so much for your transparency, your vulnerability, your emotion, your love, and how you hold space for Black and Brown people because we need each other. We need each
100%.
other, especially now more than ever. And so, girl, thank you for walking your path.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you for
walking your
answering
path.
the calling.
Absolutely. But before we close out, I always have a closing question for all of our guests. And that question is, what would you tell younger Desiree?
That's a good question, Jill. What would I tell younger Desiree? I would say the first thing that came to my mind was continue to trust God. You are well. You are protected. You are loved. You are seen. You are held. Trust God. You're,
Absolutely.
my path is so insane. I went from aerospace to sitting in I'm literally in Charlotte right now. I'm a Brooklyn girl. Like,
Mm.
I'm literally in Charlotte right now helping and guiding women. I could have never thought of anything like this. I could have never conceived this. And so when we trust God and trust the path that we're already laid out for us, just allow.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for allowing me to hold space for you.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
you for sharing your stories because you shared so much with us today. And I know that I'm walking away with a lot of just heartwarming information, but experience. And I feel your love and I feel your passion. And I know that you will continue to do amazing and great things.
Thank
And
you.
so I want to continue to be of support to you. I want to continue to share your
Amen.
message and your great work. And so tell us how we can do that. How do we get in touch with Desiree? How do we support your journey? How do we support the business? Where can people find you? How can they book with you?
Yes,
How can they add to 2000 to the 2000 plus of people that you are helping guide them back to rediscovering who they truly are?
that's right. Love that. I would say the best places to find me are at The Wellness You Desire on all platforms. It's thewellnessyoudesire.com, where you can book for coaching opportunities, workplace wellness, consultation, and where else can you find me? My Amazon at my Amazon store is also very poppin'. It has like all of the holistic things that I use for myself and my clients so that we can live better, cleaner, wiser, more grounded. So yeah, I would say definitely the website, Instagram, my stories, and my page. And YouTube is coming. Soon come, soon come.
Yay!
Yeah, so yeah, those are the places.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you again for joining us today. It
Thank
has
you.
been a very rich conversation. And I greatly appreciate your time, your energy, and all the work that you are putting out here in the universe. We need it.
Thank you.
And the smile is a bonus.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Get
you.
into the
Yours
smile, y'all.
too. Yours too.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We will see you in the next episode. And peace.